Nobody challenges someone who responds like this, not because they speak louder, but because they respond with intelligence. Think about the person who tries to provoke you. They interrupt, talk over you, dominate conversations, and somehow come out on top simply because they create noise. Now picture the opposite. You don't elevate your voice. You don't defend yourself. You don't get pulled into their emotional chaos. You say one sentence, the right sentence, calm, precise, unemotional. And suddenly, something shifts for them. They lose their footing. They lose control. They run out of words. In this video, I'm going to share 5 intelligent responses that silence anyone without insults, without losing composure, and without sacrificing your peace. These work with authority figures, difficult relatives, arrogant coworkers, and especially with people who try to manipulate conversations. And pay attention to this. Response number 3 doesn't just stop conflict. It completely changes the power dynamic by forcing the other person to either respect you or disengage. Stay until the end, because once you start using these responses with calm certainty, you'll notice something unexpected. People begin choosing their words more carefully around you. Here's what most people never understand. They think the goal is to win arguments, so they fight for the last word. They raise their voice. They over-explain. They justify. They perform. Meanwhile, the other person isn't trying to understand anything. They're trying to dominate. That's why the loudest person often appears to win in the moment, not because they're correct, but because they're willing to create disorder. There's another kind of strength, not the strength to overpower others, but the strength to remain steady. The moment you react automatically, you hand someone else control over your inner state. True composure means your emotional center stays firm, even when pressure keeps hitting it. Anger clouds judgment, and judgment spoken in anger almost always becomes regret. So these aren't comebacks. They're spoken boundaries. They're carefully chosen sentences that protect your dignity and expose disrespect without aggression. One important reminder before we begin. These responses only work when your tone aligns with your words. Spoken with anger, they become sarcasm. Spoken with fear, they become permission. The power lies in calm delivery. The power lies in precision. Response 1. I don't need to raise my voice to be right. Some people rely on volume. They believe loudness equals strength. They interrupt. They talk over you. They overwhelm the conversation so you can't finish a thought. They expect you to either submit or explode. If you explode, you've stepped into their arena. This sentence allows you to leave that arena while remaining fully present. Picture a meeting where you're explaining an idea and someone keeps cutting you off with a louder tone, trying to win by drowning you out. Or a family disagreement where every topic turns into shouting. They're not seeking clarity. They're seeking control. You pause. Relax your posture. Hold neutral eye contact. And you say calmly, I don't need to raise my voice to be right. That sentence creates an instant contrast. Everyone notices the difference between emotional noise and mental strength. It also communicates something clearly. You can yell if you want. I'm not joining you. If they continue shouting after that, they shrink in front of everyone. Because now it's obvious. The volume isn't confidence. It's insecurity wearing armor. When you say this calmly, you demonstrate self-command. You're no longer arguing. You're setting the emotional temperature of the room. Response 2. The way you're speaking says more about you than it does about me. Some people don't attack ideas. They attack dignity, sarcasm, mockery, subtle insults disguised as jokes. They want to make you feel smaller so you'll either defend yourself or seek their approval. This sentence works like a mirror. You're not insulting them. You're not asking them to stop. You're not proving your worth. You're simply refusing to absorb what isn't yours. Imagine someone delivers a cutting remark in front of others, hoping you'll react. Instead, you hold a steady gaze and deliver this line like an observation, not a fight. The insult loses power because insults require acceptance. When you don't accept them, they expose the speaker instead. You're protecting your character. You can't control what someone says. You can control what you assign meaning to. Seeing disrespect as a reflection of them, not you, keeps you free. And freedom is unsettling to people who rely on control. Before moving on, pause for a moment. Choose one of these first two responses. Picture where you'll use it. Visualize your tone, calm, grounded, unbothered. Now let's move to the one manipulators dislike the most. Response 3. We can talk when we can do it with respect. Some interactions aren't discussions. They're traps. The person interrupts, twists your words, escalates emotionally, pushes you to react, then blames you for the chaos they created. That's a manipulation loop. Many people stay stuck because they think leaving means losing. Manipulators depend on that fear. This sentence breaks the loop instantly. Say it as a boundary, not a complaint. Not, please respect me. Not, why are you acting like this? Just a clear condition. Imagine an important conversation where the other person starts attacking your tone, motives, or character. You stop. You breathe. You say, we can talk when we can do it with respect. Now everything shifts. The conversation is no longer about the topic. It's about the minimum standard required to continue. You're withdrawing consent from disrespect. If they continue, they expose themselves. If they adjust, they step into your frame. Either way, you maintain control without aggression. Don't explain this boundary. Don't defend it. A locked door doesn't argue. It either opens or stays closed. Response 4. I'm not going to continue this conversation. There comes a moment when you realize the other person isn't listening. They're not curious. They're not seeking understanding. They're seeking victory at the cost of your time and dignity. Most people ignore this moment. They keep talking because they want fairness. They want validation. They want closure. But conflict-driven people don't offer closure. This sentence is a clean exit, not hostile, not emotional, not apologetic. It doesn't ask permission. It ends the exchange. When you feel your patience thinning and your emotions rising, that's your cue. You state it calmly and disengage. Leaving a toxic exchange isn't weakness. It's authority over your attention, and attention is currency. Spend it wisely. Response 5. That's your view. I respect it, but I don't share it. Not every disagreement is with an enemy. Sometimes it's someone close who keeps pushing their beliefs onto you. They pressure. They insist. They frame disagreement as disrespect. This sentence allows you to stand firm without escalating conflict. It says, I heard you. I'm not attacking you. And I'm not changing my position. You don't argue point by point. You don't surrender. You hold your ground. There's nothing to attack because you didn't attack them. This is emotional independence, respecting someone's right to think differently without handing them control over your mind. Now, let's anchor these responses. The words matter, but delivery matters more. Response 1 lowers emotional temperature. Response 2 reflects instead of retaliating. Response 3 sets standards. Response 4 protects energy. Response 5 holds position without hostility. And remember, you don't always need words. Sometimes silence is stronger. Sometimes pause is the response. Sometimes walking away is enough. But when you do speak, Speak as someone who owns their inner world. Let's repeat them until they become instinct. I don't need to raise my voice to be right. The way you're speaking says more about you than it does about me. We can talk when we can do it with respect. I'm not going to continue this conversation. That's your view. I respect it, but I don't share it. When you stop reacting the way others expect, you rewrite the script. And when the script changes, so does the power dynamic. Over time, people begin approaching you differently, not because you became aggressive, but because you became difficult to manipulate. Presence replaces noise. Control replaces chaos. Now tell me, which of these responses will you use first? And in what situation? I want to hear what you're dealing with.